In 1992, arguably the world's greatest chess player of all time, Garry Kasparov,
the strongest player ever in the history of the game,
sat down to take part in perhaps the most famous chess match of all time.
The stakes are high,
but no one will bet on a winner.
Opposite him was no ordinary opponent. It was Deep Blue, the IBM chess-playing computer.
In the other corner, the world's greatest chess-playing computer, a machine called Deep Blue.
Able to take a brute force approach to process 100 million different chess positions every second, as opposed to Kasparov, who could only process 3 positions a second. In a game of chess, there are around 30 different ways to make the opening move in a game, and around 30 different ways to respond. That means that after just 2 moves apiece, there are around 800,000 possible positions. And beyond that, the possible positions moves into the trillions. The whole world was watching. It was the ultimate case of man versus machine.
Forget the $300,000. The future of humanity is on the line. Now the weather.
Could the processing power of 100 million positions per second, which you'd expect to be fully equipped for a situation where there's so many possible positions, be any match for the intelligence and the talent of Grandmaster Garry Kasparov? We'll come back to this in just a moment. Before that, let's run the parallel now between that situation and trading. You see, with chess we said that the opening move has around 30 different possibilities. But with trading, we know that at any moment there's only 2 possibilities. The price can either move up or it can move down. However, in the same way that after a while in a game of chess, the number of potential positions is greater than the number of atoms in the whole of the known universe, the same is true of trading. That the number of potential positions in the market is pretty much endless, is infinite. So in that case, how on earth do we build the understanding of a context of a situation to be able to determine whether we think the price is going to move up or down? Do we need a supercomputer that can process hundreds of millions of possible positions every second? I mean, I'm sure we've all seen situations where the market's trending strongly and we expect it to continue to do so like it's done the last few times, and then suddenly it turns on a dime and does the opposite of what we expect. So how can we pick up on this? Well, luckily for us, there are a lot of studies that go into great detail about this. It's closely linked to the subject of how we build talent and whether it's something that's innate in us. And there's a book that I think really sums this up really nicely, the whole topic, and brings together the different studies. And that's a book called Bounce by Matthew Said. And I definitely think it's worth reading, so check that one out. So, over the course of this video and the next 2, which are all part of a series, we're going to take that information from the various studies and apply it to trading, so that we can start to discover what makes a great trader, how we can become one, and what we specifically need to do to shape our mindset in order to achieve that. So of course you're going to want to make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss those next 2 videos in the series. When we talk about great sports people, we'll often praise them for certain qualities that they have. This might be things like they've got fast hands or fast feet, they might have quick reflexes or some sort of inherent creativity or flair. But one thing's for certain, we always think that they are incredibly talented. But then the question is, are they born with that talent? With superior versions of these characteristics? Or is it something else that's shaping them? That is something that we're going to cover in a lot more detail in the very next video in this series, when we start to look at how we can become more talented at trading. But for now, I just want to consider one certain aspect which I think may change the way that we look at all of this. In the book I mentioned a minute ago called Bounce, the author is a world-class table tennis player. Now, table tennis is one of the fastest paced sports around, even faster than regular tennis. To put it in perspective, the response time for a serve in table tennis is 250 milliseconds, whereas in normal tennis it's 450 milliseconds, so it's a lot quicker. So the author, Matthew Said, who's a world-class table tennis player, he told a story about a time that he was playing against a professional tennis player at tennis. And he asked the professional to serve as fast as he can. And we're talking like 130 miles per hour serve or something ridiculous like that. But Matthew Said, knowing that he's got a faster reaction time in table tennis, thought that he would at least be able to return the serve, no matter what type of shot it is, he'd at least be able to return it, because it's slower paced than table tennis. However, as you may be anticipating, the reality of the situation was very different to what he thought. You see, he didn't get to return a single serve. The ball kept whizzing past his ear, despite the response time being slower than the response time in table tennis. So Matthew, the author, decided that he wanted to investigate why that was the case. So he went along to a sports science lab who put on a big video screen someone serving, and all he had to do was return the serve. And they'd monitor what happened during that process to be able to tell him what the problem was. And what they found was like instant. They could tell straight away before the ball was even hit. They could tell instantly from his eyes that he was doing what he'd do in table tennis, which is to focus on the racket and the hands of the person serving. But in tennis, if you do that, then what happened to him will happen to you, which is that a ball will whiz past your head. Instead, in tennis, the focus goes to the hips and the torso of the player serving. So before the ball's even hit, a professional tennis player can tell where the ball's going to be coming to just based on looking at the body of the person serving. And this is further demonstrated by a story about Roger Federer. Now, just in case you don't know, I'd be surprised if you didn't, but Roger Federer, he's one of the greatest tennis players of all time. And in this situation, he was playing an ancient form of tennis called real tennis. Now, you would expect one of the greatest tennis players of all time, his quick reaction speeds, his ability to hit the ball accurately wherever he wants on a court, is probably going to transfer nicely over to this ancient form of tennis. But in reality, he didn't only struggle to play like he would with his normal way of playing tennis, but he even struggled to even connect with the ball. In reality, although these top class performers are obviously highly skilled, dexterous in some situations, elegant, precise, quick, all of that stuff, their real talent comes from being able to extract more information from a situation than other people can. This comes from their ability through their experience to be able to chunk information. You see, Roger Federer hasn't just got fast reaction times for hitting any balls that are flying at him. What he has is a quick ability to chunk a lot of abstract information in a tennis situation, to contextualize that information and to really be able to interpret in a very quick time exactly what is likely to happen. And this chunking process is very similar to when you're trying to memorize bits of information. Like, think about your phone number. You don't remember it as individual numbers like 0, 7, 5, 8 and so on. You remember it in chunks like 0758 blah blah blah. So let's flash back to the start of the video. Remember, we were running a parallel between trading and chess. So we've got Gary Kasparov, a grandmaster, arguably the greatest chess player of all time. And at some points in a chess match, he's in a situation where there could have been trillions of possible positions of the pieces on the board. So it's not possible for him to remember every single possibility and to understand what to do in that situation. It's just not possible with that many variations. However, he's learned to chunk a board from his experience, which means that from these chunks he can start to filter out what's useful information and what's not. He can determine from certain aspects what's likely to happen next and what he should therefore be doing. He's able to contextualize the board based on chunking these information points. Now, this is really similar to trading, and I've got a great example to explain how and why. So back in 2013, when we were building our automated system in the markets, we were taking my practical approach to trading and trying to automate it in a computerized system to try and take the rules of everything I do and replicate it. So it's going to replicate the way that I trade. However, we had some big problems in providing the context of the market in the system. You see, the system could pick up on certain cues and certain things that were happening, but it couldn't pick up on the cues from the context of the situation, which I could from my experience and being able to chunk certain aspects of the market to, broadly speaking, understand what's happening. So with that being said, can you guess what happened when Gary Kasparov came up against Deep Blue, the IBM supercomputer? The match was played as the best of 6 games, and in the first game, Deep Blue won, and Kasparov was visibly frustrated. He was pissed off that he just lost to a computer. However, over the course of the match, which was the best of 6 games, Kasparov won 3 times and drew twice, meaning that Deep Blue only won the 1 time, and therefore Kasparov won the entire match. You see, after that first game, Kasparov was able to use his experience and his ability to chunk a board and figure out the context of a situation. This meant that midway through a game, he was able to identify what the priorities were from the computer, what the computer was trying to achieve as a priority, and switch his strategy based on that. He was able to think beyond just his 3 moves per second and just trying to process what the best next move is based on the last moves, and instead understand the context of the situation, identify what needs to be done, and then execute. Understanding this can have a massive impact on our trading. You see, we can all learn the right technique for something. We can all learn a good method that's going to give us a good head start in something. Like for example, if we're playing golf and we learn the correct way to do a golf swing, then we have a greater chance of getting a hole in one. So this is just like the automated trading system I just told you about. So we could program it to assess what the best next move is by processing the different variations of what could happen based on the current position. But it didn't have the ability to add that context and to learn from experience and being able to chunk the context that's happened previously to understand what was going to happen next. Instead, it just had to look at the current position and assess what the best next move is based on the current one. So of course, because it can process more information than me, it could potentially open more trades than me and perform better over the long term. But on a trade by trade basis, it will never be able to outperform me. Because context matters, whether that's in trading or tennis or anything else. How am I going to react to this ball coming towards me? What information can I extract from the situation to provide the context to let me know what action I should be taking? And in trading, this means all the way from the minuscule movements all the way to the larger movements, to build that context. It's impossible for us to know every single possible variation of the position of the market, but by going through the different iterations, going through building this experience, we can start to chunk this information, which allows us to get rid of the useless information, keep the information that's going to help us to build that context and understand what action we're going to take next. It's like on our members forum, when someone posts a screenshot and I give some feedback, then sometimes they might comment back saying, wow, I didn't notice that, I was focusing on the wrong area of the chart. But that's not the case. It's not just that they were focusing on the wrong area, it's that there's not necessarily the experience that they've built up over time to be able to chunk the chart and understand the correct context of what was actually happening and where they should be looking. And by the way, even then with a screenshot, you're still very limited, because part of that information you're processing comes from what's actually happening, the movements in the market. What's the velocity of the movements? What's the density of the action around certain areas? Sometimes you can just intuitively say whether you should exit or enter a trade based on what's going on. But unless you've built up that experience, then you won't necessarily know. So in the rematch between Garry Kasparov and Deep Blue, then Deep Blue actually won. Kasparov won the first game, but over the series of best of 6, Deep Blue beat him, and he was very ashamed, very embarrassed about it.
Deep Blue beat Garry Kasparov. And whoa! The great Russian champion was not a graceful loser.
Yesterday, something was completely different.
But the thing is, it's because these supercomputers these days are able to act more like world-class performers, because they're able to learn from what's happened. They build the experience. It's all about building these neural connections. That's what happens for us. But you know, that first version of Deep Blue probably would have beaten most people at chess. And I like to think that that's kind of similar to what I say to you guys when you're learning our approach to trading, that after a few months, you can start to make some money. But the only way you're going to become a great trader, the only way you're going to become the Garry Kasparov that beats that version, is by building that experience and building that screen time. However, not all screen time is the same, and it's not simple enough for us to just say, oh, you need more screen time. You know, from this video and the information we've discussed today, we now know what makes someone talented at something, and therefore what makes a great trader. It's all about being able to extract information and build that context from the different possibilities that there could be. But now, in the next video in this series, we want to understand precisely how we build that experience, build that context, build that ability and that talent through our screen time in trading, but what specific screen time we need, what we actually need to be doing. And so therefore we can build an action plan to make sure that we achieve that goal of becoming a great trader. And after all that, in the third video, we're also going to use information from studies to understand exactly how we need to shape our own mindset to facilitate all this amazing progress that we could possibly achieve if done the right way. So if you're looking forward to the next videos in the series, then make sure you hit that thumbs up button to let us know that you like videos of this sort. If you've got any questions or comments, please do feel free to leave them in the comments box below, and make sure you subscribe for more videos about trading and the financial markets. I can't wait to bring you the next videos. This is information that is really interesting to me, and I hope it's been interesting for you as well. So thanks a lot for watching. As always, take care, and I'll see you in the next video in the series. Bye bye.